Call meeting to order. Please take order.
Yep, it's lit up.
Let the record show that all board members are present. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Excuse me, approve the agenda with some moderations. We will take B out of recognitions and remove D out of new business.
I move to approve the agenda with the noted corrections as were presented.
Second.
Motion moved and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. First thing on the agenda, recognition, National Board Certified Teachers, Ms. Lowry.
Good evening, board members, President Ford and Dr. Starcher. The National Board Certification is the highest credential in the teaching profession, awarded by the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards. This rigorous voluntary process recognizes teachers who demonstrate advanced teaching practices, content knowledge, and a commitment to student learning and professional growth. Earning this certification signifies excellence in education and dedication to continuous improvement. Tonight, we want to celebrate and recognize the outstanding educators in Raleigh County who have recently achieved this prestigious honor and those who have completed their National Board Certification maintenance requirements. Their hard work, expertise, and dedication to their students and our profession are truly commendable. There are currently 1,218 National Board Certified teachers in West Virginia, and Raleigh County Schools is proud to employ 48 of those. As I call your name, please come forward to be recognized, and I would also ask that you please stay, and at the very end we'll get one group picture with those who are here tonight. So from Liberty High School, English teacher Tracy Barker. From Daniels Elementary, multi-categorical teacher Melissa Brammer. Family and Consumer Science teacher, I need to wait till there are pictures there. Go a little too fast. Family and Consumer Science teacher from Woodrow Wilson High School, Mary Crawford. Mary, I think he was whistling for all that extra money you're going to be bringing home. Music teacher from Shady Spring Middle School, Megan Gray. From Stanford Elementary School, special education teacher, Sarah Martin. From Ridgeview Elementary School, Title I teacher, Taylor Sexton. Business education teacher from Woodrow Wilson High School, Patricia Treadway. Title I teacher, Bradley Elementary School, Julie Nixon. Multi-categorical teacher from Daniels Elementary School, Erica Pack. Third grade teacher from Fairdale Elementary School, Jill Wright. And AP English teacher from Woodrow Wilson High School, Mary Beth Underwood. Yes, let's all get in for a group picture, and let's all congratulate them again. This is no easy feat. It's no easy task. Everyone come on in here.
One, two, three. Hold, hold, hold,
And hold. Hold. Okay, thank you. Hard for you to go. Dang, y'all know how to clear a room.
I make it.
Mary Beth already was.
I did too.
She must have gone and
Must be something.
another one.
Must be something.
One of those were maintenance.
Okay, I thought so, yeah.
The last one were maintenance.
Okay, good deal.
They
Yeah, do whatever.
Okay, moving right along. Delegations, agenda and non-agenda, we have none. Communication reports, Dr. Hutchins?
Nope. Sick, tired, and winter.
Marcia?
I just talked to a few principals while we were all snowbound.
Good news, I hope.
Nobody complained about anything. They were bragging on the board.
Ms. Hambrick?
I think he might be fibbing.
Ms. Hambrick?
I'm good.
Mr. Snuffer?
Only thing, we had an Army Board meeting this week, I guess, wasn't it? Past Thursday. And there's a number of things they're trying to do out there. I don't know which money at, but they're trying to look at the HVAC upgrade, the old furnace. I told somebody I'd been on the board, I don't know how many years, 20 years, and the issue's the same today as it was when I first started. We're still trying to keep the thing. The Army's never going to be a money-making thing. It's always hard since the National Guard put out to keep the thing running and keep it financed. We were working on a boiler back then, so hopefully we'll see something come that way. And I would like to say again that our maintenance, the bus drivers, everything else, I know there's a couple of days there that a lot of people gave a little heat for us having school, but the best place for kids is in school. And they did it, and they did it flawlessly. They shoveled ice, and believe me, there was a lot of ice out there, and got it off the sidewalks and everything else, and got our kids in the buildings and got them back on the agenda of having education again. And I want to thank them for that.
Okay, I don't have anything except nothing as far as the board. Well, I guess it is part of the board. We have a new sheriff in town, and he's here tonight, and he has some of his officers with us. Would you mind introducing him?
Yes, sir. This is Chief Deputy Will Pennell. Shelley. That's our new leadership staff, will be involved in everything throughout the schools. We'll be very active, and we're here to help you. We just need to know what you need us to do.
Thank you. Thank all of you.
Oh my gosh, I knew Will when he was like this big. I knew Frankie when he was that big. I know. I went back.
No talking about you. Superintendent's report.
Board members, I want to give you some dates this evening, and I apologize, I didn't write these down for you. March the 10th, from 5:30 to 7:30 here at the board office, we're having our inaugural Night of the Arts, featuring just various arts programs from around the county. So we will have a schedule of when certain schools will be here and when their particular work will be showcased, but that will be March the 10th. That's a Monday evening. Our Teacher of the Year banquet will be held April 17th at 6 o'clock p.m. Service Personnel Banquet, April 24th, likewise 6 o'clock p.m. Scholars Luncheon, April 30th at noon. And then our retirement reception, May 1st, 6 o'clock p.m. So it's about that time to start recognizing our wonderful staff that we have. So if you can make it, we obviously would love to have you there. And then I would just add today, a few of us had the privilege of visiting 3 of our elementary schools. Not only, we held a short data review, but then we visited several classrooms throughout the building. We ate lunch at Crescent. It was a great chili potato luncheon that they always have, but it was a very good day. I commend the staff, teachers and students alike. We're working throughout those 3 schools today, and we visited Daniels, Crescent, and Stanford. All 3 schools were doing a very good job today. So it was nice to get out and interact with our students and staff. So we've started that, and we will be visiting all schools over the next month or so, just to get out and see them. So anyway, it was a good day, and that's all I have.
Oh, thank you. Okay, other reports, attendance report, Dr. Starcher.
Miss Lacey did have to leave to go to a conference, so she left a little earlier today, so I am subbing for her. But you can see our 5th month attendance percentage did increase by 1.797%, so we're at 93.6% overall in the 5th month, so that's good. You can see our enrollment. We did lose 3 students. We have 9,632. High school exits, we have 0. And I will just say to the board, you may remember in December that you opened the virtual policy up a little bit so that students can enroll at any time, generally speaking. And that has saved a student just this past week. So instead of losing a student to drop out, we were able to enroll the student in virtual. So and obviously the student wasn't aware that that was a recent change. So it was a good change on the part of the board. And then on the last page of Ms. Lacey's report, you will see our numbers in terms of Hope Scholarship. 85, we 12 left the Hope Scholarship Program during the 5th month. And then for homeschool, we have 1,229 students, homebound 85, and then we have 140 on alternative. Does anybody have a question about that?
No, but I did, from the report, I was, must have been dreaming something else, but the suit, or not the suit, but the appeal of the rate that AEP is going to be asking for.
Yes.
Could we have that on our next agenda then, so that we as a board can act?
Possible action?
I think all of us got it from the School Board Association, and we probably need to take action opposing that.
So we'll list it as discussion, possible action?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Mid-year iReady diagnostic data report, Ms.
Skating again. So in your packet, you should have a set of data, and it has like the colors on it that looks like this. So we're going to go through that quickly together, and I'm just going to point out some things and some significant things that we've noticed when digging into this data. So on that first page there, you'll see that we're looking at ELA. And the first column that I want you to notice is the middle of the year last year, so it's this exact time of last year. And then the green column on grade level, that is comparing the percent of kids that we had on or above grade level. So you can see as a county, last year we had 39%, this year we had 42%. So if you go down through there, you can see the schools, where they were this time last year and where they are now on students on or at grade level. Remember, this is English. So you can see there, if they have a green and they're above where they were last year, several were about the same, but we do have some that had dropped. Okay, so if you're looking through there, then you can see that we had more students proficient this time than last year as a county. 9 schools had more students proficient than this time last year in ELA. If you go over to the red column, and right in front of there is middle of the year, middle of the year last year compared to this year, these are the percentage of students that are 2 or more grade levels below. So the county had 33% in that section last year, 2 or more grade levels below. This year we had 26 at the same exact time. Then you'll see the schools there. If you see green, that means they had less kids, 2 or more grade levels below. In between there are the comparisons from fall to now, but I think it's more important that we look at, you're always going to grow from fall to mid-year to fall, you're going to show growth, but I think it's important that we're better each year, that we're growing more and having more kids proficient. That indicates we're closing a gap. On that same page where you see progress toward typical growth, we want to see around 50% there right now. Typical growth is a year of growth. So if you're in the first grade and you grow a year, you should be on second grade level. So you have some kids who may be in 4th grade, but they're on the second grade level. Well, typical growth, they will grow a year, which would be 3rd grade, but then they would be going to 5th in that same 3rd grade level. So typical growth, you're only growing a year. So we want to see 50% there. That's the median child at that school is 50% towards growth. So that means half of the kids are higher and half the kids are lower. What's even more important is the next column, which shows stretch growth. Stretch is closing the gap and being on grade level. So that there, we want to see about a 40% by the end of the year. So if you see anything around 30 there, they are well on track to close the gap. And that, once again, is that median child. So if you look at Crescent Elementary, for instance, the middle child at that, or the median is 38%. That child has 38%. So half the kids have done better closing the gap and half have done less than 38%. But then the next column shows how many kids have closed the gap. So Raleigh County has 12% of our kids have closed the gap and are now on grade level. So I think that is significant. Even though it seems like a small amount, if we can get those kids on grade level, that's a huge task. In the blue column, what that indicates is where our projected proficiency was last year, is the first white column. So last year, we were projected to perform 41% in ELA on the General Summative Assessment. This year, we're projected to perform higher. And this is only if the kids continue on the same path meeting typical growth. If we have more meet stretch growth, then that percentage should be much higher. Typically, our schools perform better than the projected proficiency, so that's what we're hoping to see. If you see green, those are the schools that are actually projected to do better. If you look at the next page there, you'll see the rest of the schools, but you'll see the middle schools. We didn't see much growth in the middle school in ELA from fall to middle of the year. You'll see there, like Best had 1% growth from fall to mid-year, Independence 5%, Park 6%. You'll see down there, but they all did better than last year, and Park stayed the same. But then they all had less kids in the red, and then they all are projected to do better on the GSA in ELA. So 15 schools had less students 2 or more grade levels below in ELA. And we are, like I said, we're projected to perform higher on the GSA. So now the next 2 pages you have is math. It looks the same there. But what I want you to notice in math is, if you look through there, we're projected to do better. We had 35% more kids on grade level. And if you go all the way to the far end where it has the projected proficiency, with our math, we were 37% projection last year, and we are almost 10 points higher, 9 percentages higher on how we're projected to do. And then if you look through all the schools, every school is projected to do better in math. In math, 19 schools have more students proficient than this time last year. 17 schools have less students, 2 or more grade levels below than this time last year. So that's very exciting for us when we dig into this data. All 22 schools are projected to perform better on the GSA. And every principal that we talked to, their schools actually did better than their projections, so they're very excited about that. We are very pleased with what we adopted as our math curriculum, the math movement mats, things that our schools are implementing in math. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. So then if you go a couple more pages over, you'll just see the standings where the schools were. They kind of like to see where their school's at in comparison to others, but this just shows the percentage of students that are proficient and how the school's ranked, their growth from fall to middle of the year, how they ranked towards meeting typical growth, and stretch growth, which means closing the gap. And so this shows where those schools fell in comparison with each other with ELA and math, and you'll see middle schools on the next page. A couple of things that I just wanted to point out. At the elementary level, when we started digging into this data, we noticed that first grade was significantly lower in proficiency than all other grade levels at the elementary. It was concerning because we don't want to have a gap in first grade because then it's just really hard to catch that up. They should be on grade level at first grade. But for example, in ELA, kindergarten had 60% of their students proficient. Second grade had 47%, but first grade was 30%. In math, kindergarten had 49% proficient, second grade had 39%, but first grade had 28%. So we're really digging into first grade and looking at that. One thing that we found was small group instruction needed to be more intense, that phonemic awareness was a low area, so we're really working that they are doing that Dr. Hegarty phonemic awareness every day with fidelity. We're working with our curriculum team meeting in first grade to dig into this data and with our principals. So that's one concern that we had found. We're pleased with our middle school growth. They're all performing very consistently. 8th grade is performing a little lower in math, but they're all pretty consistent across the board there. So also data determined that we are doing very well moving our students that are 2 or more grade levels below. But it's the kids who are already on grade level in the fall that are very stagnant. So we have been working with our principals, we met with them, we're talking to teachers and working with our schools to work on those movable kids or those bubble kids, that we can't neglect them. If we're working really hard on those groups, they need as much attention. And things that we're doing for that is we're teaching grade level standards to stop lowering our expectations. We need to scaffold or reteach when they're either pulled out for small groups or they're in the special education classroom, but we need to teach rigorous grade level standards using higher level questioning and also focus on how we're handling small group instruction. Are there any questions about what I presented this evening?
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I guess just a comment. When you look at the data, I mean, I'm not going to be on data, but there are some schools that excel.
Yes.
Year in, year out.
And I know part of that is the socioeconomic base they're dealing with, and part of it is the kids they're getting and the parent support. But I see some schools that really need some recognition there. I mean,
Yes,
Little
yes.
Clear Fork here. I mean, they've really went up, and you can't say they have a socioeconomic, advantage of any kind.
Yes,
You know?
Yes, that's right.
And maybe we need to shadow some of these schools, like a Hollywood, or, I mean, they've got this test score stuff down. I mean, they just have it.
And there's still, if you look on the very first page, get back to ELA,
Yeah.
Hollywood was already high last year
Yeah.
at 69, and they're at 75.
I was gonna say, look
And look
at
at Maxwell Hill. We've
Yeah.
been super pleased with them. I
Yeah.
mean, they were at 52
Yep.
and 66, and then if you look at their math, they went from 40 to
Right.
51. I mean, Maxwell had huge gains.
Right.
So you're exactly right. There's a lot of growth there. And then some were disappointing as well, but we have been, they own that data, and we have worked with them at every meeting. We had a meeting a couple Fridays ago that we went over this, but you are exactly right. Schools that tend to excel, they're still excelling, they're still
Yeah, that's
growing.
the thing. Well, I mean, I think we had a meeting with the Hollywood, or their staff, and one of the things I said, when you get that high, it's hard to stay that high.
That's right.
And when you do that and keep doing that, you're doing something right.
Yes.
You're doing something right, and the students are responding to it. But I do give a shout out to those schools that maybe are a little more of a country school, a little rural school. You don't get more rural than Clear Fork.
No.
I mean,
no.
Chris will tell you that. It's down, and when they can bring up and do some stuff, the growth and stuff they've done, they need a salute too.
Absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
But interesting data. Thank
Yep,
you.
you're welcome.
Glad to see the, focusing a little bit on the kids that are on level to boost them up. But you know what? They get, sometimes they get short end stick.
Yeah, their growth is not as, like in the two grade levels and below, we saw some growth of the same kids. We looked at the same exact kids who grew 72%, and then some of those kids that were already green, just 24. So, I mean, we can't let that, there'll be a gap there or they'll fall short, so we can do that. Okay, thank you.
Aval annual levy update. Mr. Butcher.
I talked to him. I think he's going to do a podcast, and we don't have to. That's why I told. And we can just we can listen to it on the way home.
You know, it's your lucky day. It's only taking me about 45 minutes. We'll be out.
45 minutes.
Tell me the money, okay? That's all I care. Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to rush on our account.
Is it okay if I switch the two, do the budget calendar first? Okay. Your first handout you have is the budget calendar. So budget requests were due on the 17th, and the 60-day legislative session begins on the 12th of February. That's also the same day that I'll be meeting with directors on staffing. There's already been several staffing meetings, and that'll just be to finalize the staffing for next year. On the 20th will be our work session with our administrators on their budget requests, the LSIC requests, CEFP updates. And then on March the 3rd is a certificate evaluation from the assessor. March the 11th, that's highlighted because that's a date that would pertain to you, and that is the meeting we have to ascertain the financial condition of the board and determine the amounts to be raised by the levy of taxes. That's at 5 o'clock, and that is on a Tuesday board meeting night. So March the 28th, we submit those scheduled proposed levy rates to the state auditor and the State Board of Ed. And then April 15th, we reconvene that meeting from March the 11th to officially enter the levies. On April the 25th is a projected release of the final comps for the 25-26 fiscal year. And then on May the 13th would be our work session to go over the FY26 budget. The follow-up is 3 days later if there's any significant changes, and that's due to the publication time. We have to have 10 days publication, and that falls on May the 16th. So we have to publish on the 16th. That's why that second meeting would be on the 16th. And then May the 27th, of course, would be our public hearing to adopt the budget for FY26. The 2 pages behind that is just the Department of Ed's budget calendar, just for your reference. Any questions on the budget calendar? Okay. Moving on to the excess levy annual financial summary. A little bit later than normal this year, but FY24 was the last year of the excess levy, the previous excess levy. This year we're currently under a new excess levy. And for just comparison's sakes, The one that ended in FY '24 was a $21.3 million annual levy, and the new levy is $24.3 million. So a little bit of an increase in our assessed values. We are blessed in Raleigh County to have an excess levy, and that excess levy funds a lot of different programs for our district. It funds free textbooks, $800,000 a year, instructional supports, $700,000 a year, PE and student wellness, $35,442, curricular program incentives for reading, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, $165,000, technology integration, $708,000, library supplies, $120,000, music supplies and equipment at the elementary schools, $23,708, and at the secondary level, $100,079. Truancy diversion and dropout prevention, $216,000. Universal pre-K, $300,000. Performing arts enrichment, $15,000. Academic competition and fairs, $5,000. Our athletic programs, that's the support for our coaching staff, $885,000. Curricular and extracurricular trip support, $218,286. Student health services, $200,000. Student security, that's our pro officers in our schools. Safety training and security needs, it's also our in-school suspension folks, that's $455,000. Extended learning, that's our summer school and school repairs and fleet maintenance, $155,000. Sports WVU extension services, $70,000 a year. The Youth Museum, $15,000. The Raleigh County Convention Center, $50,000. The Solid Waste Authority, $10,000. Transportation, that's the maintenance of our bus fleet, $180,000. Our buildings and grounds, $200,000. Major capital improvement projects, $900,000. And then there's $14.8 million a year that goes to salary support, staffing for substitutes, employees over the state funding ratio limits, and group insurance for PEIA, premium reduction, dental, optical, and life, and also our personal leave incentive. So that's what makes up the $21.3 million. For FY24, we had a beginning treasurer's balance of $3.3 million. We had collections of $27.1 million. And then you can see we had $21.5 million of classified expenditures in each of those programmatic levels within the excess levy. $13.7 million of that was the salary supports that are afforded under the levy. And then we also had reductions for encumbrances and designated balance, the $800,479 and $2.4 million. That totals $3.2 million, and that is what is left in the excess levy as of June the 30th, 2024. And then we had $5.7 million of designated fund requests. So we have no undesignated funds as of the end of our excess levy, which is where we should be.
And that, the important thing is, that is based on the 24 ending levy, not the new levy we're in right now.
Correct.
So those amounts will change.
Correct.
What we're operating on now. So that's
Yeah.
just so everybody knows that that's the old money.
Yep. Yep. And then over on page 4, pages 2 to 4 shows you the salary supports under the excess levy. And you can see about halfway down the page, when you take out state aid for salaries, Raleigh County still had about $10.8 million of unfunded salaries. We had another $2.2 million of fixed costs for dental, optical, life, Social Security, retirement, and workers' comp on those salaries. So we had a total unfunded of $13,037,000. And when you come back over to the front and you add the $685,000 for premium reduction benefits, so salary and fixed cost supports under the levy are about $13.7 million. The levy call was $14.7 million, so we were about $1 million under the levy call on salary and supports. I don't expect that trend to continue because of PEIA, so I expect that we won't have that in the future. Over on page 5, that's a snapshot of the overall levy for the 5 years. We collected $128.6 million on a levy call of $106.7 million, so we had collections over the call of about $22 million. We had overall expenses of $104 million. So we had an excess of revenue over expenditures of $24.4 million. And over the course of the levy, $21.2 million has went into our permanent improvement capital projects fund and has also been used for SBA matching. And that leaves you with an ending designated funds of $3.2 million. If you look over to the right on FY24, you can see that in FY24 we used about $5.7 million of that overage for some of our permanent improvement projects. That's for Daniels Elementary Playground, turf replacements, a warehouse freezer, Park Middle School gym demo project, Stratton Elementary new parking area, and then the rest was for Woodrow Wilson High School renovations. So in terms of how Raleigh County functions with capital improvements and permanent improvements and capital projects is, you know, we try not to go to the taxpayers with bond levies, and we try to, you know, use our money judiciously and wisely. And so we go to the SBA and we try to partner with them wherever we can. And as you know, over the last 5 years, we've done a lot of improvement projects throughout the county, and that was done with COVID funds, county funds, levy funds, and SBA funds. So we use a lot of different funding sources to fund our projects. If you look just at the SBA projects funded through this levy period, the SBA gave Raleigh County about $11.9 million, and the cost of those projects is about $29.6 million. So that's a 40% return on investment for taxpayers because we do leverage our dollars and try to partner with the SBA where we can. So that's one of the positives that comes out of having this excess levy in place. And like I said, we do everything we can to try to not run a bond levy because we really don't want to do that unless we just have to. The rest of the pages in that packet are the previous years prior to 24, so it takes you through the whole 5 years.
How much, you may not have it there, how much of the IRA money or the COVID money you call it, did we were able to designate into facilities?
I don't have that number with me, but I can give it to you because we've actually provided those numbers. So
Yeah.
it's significant. You know, Shady Spring Elementary renovations,
Right.
the Woodrow Wilson High School windows, the ACT windows, several HVAC projects, and it, you know, and not only that, that also got us out of a lease model with our technology. So we're fully funded for technology. So the COVID money really probably set us ahead probably at least 5 to 7 years on our construction projects.
Well, I just, you know, you and the superintendent need to be congratulated on that because some counties spent that money on things that are reoccurring. We spent it on things that are permanent improvement that'll go for years and years.
Yeah.
And I think that was just wise of the board and wise of the leadership here to designate that money in such a way that it's concrete and it's something that'll last.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
Nice job.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Didn't take 45 minutes, did it?
No unfinished business? No policies and procedures? Consent items? A, B, and C.
I move we approve the consent items that were submitted to us.
Motion moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. New business. Consider approval of the Category 1 E-rate renewal agreement for Fiber One with Cambridge.
Superintendent Ford, board members, Dr. Starcher, this is just a renewal. Last year, we signed a contract, and so this is our first renewal of 2, so we can go 1-year contract with the option for 2 one-year renewals. So this is just renewing what we've already have in place.
Thank you.
And the good thing on here, if you notice down at the bottom, we will get reimbursed at 90%. So we'll get back 90% of the $263,880. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
You're pleased with it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it was like
Do you have a
$500,000 when I
motion?
first started, so yeah.
Yeah, do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the renewal of the agreement for E-rate with Fiber One, what was that, Celebrate Telecom, West Virginia.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Yeah, 90%'s good. Consider approval of the incentive pay for administrative competition of LETRS, professional learning. Dr. Starcher.
President, for board members, as you will likely recall at our last meeting at Shady Elementary, I presented the letters program for teachers, and you approved a $1,500 stipend and then a $2,000 stipend. Once that agenda went out, but prior to our board meeting, I learned that administrators could also complete the program, much less hours, but I didn't list it as a separate item on the agenda. So tonight, I would like to recommend that administrators, elementary principals who complete that training program, or assistant principals, could receive the same stipend in terms of hourly rate. It would be $25 an hour, but theirs would be a cap of $1,500 because their program isn't as long. So I'd like to recommend to you that the board approve a $1,500 stipend for administrators who complete the letters training for administrators. Now, again, we'd have the same type of agreement or contract with those administrators that they would have 2 years to complete the program and then be required to serve as an elementary principal for the following 3 years. Do you have any questions?
I move we approve the incentive pay for administrators who complete the letters training at $1,500.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Approve superintendent's recommendation for personnel, 20,
I have one more item, C.
oh, I'm sorry, sorry. Discuss the possible action pertaining to social media lawsuit.
Board members, there are several counties in the state of West Virginia that are participating in a social media litigation. So I've been in contact with the law firm that is representing the school systems in West Virginia about us possibly joining that lawsuit. If we would participate, there's no legal fee up front. Obviously, they would take the legal fee from any receipt of funds that the school systems would receive. The firm is the Webb Law Center located in Charleston. Now, that firm is working with other law firms in the country. This isn't just a suit isolated to West Virginia, but it is about social media litigation. I can give you there are several counties, more since I received this list, but those around, I can read these around us. Summers, Fayette, Mercer, Monroe, Greenbrier, Nicholas, and Wyoming, plus some others in the state. They have all joined. And if we would like to join, we would need to take action tonight to approve that.
What is your recommendation?
My recommendation, I sat through one of our SESC meetings where they talked about that somewhat. Based on the possible outcome, I would recommend we join the lawsuit.
I don't see a negative to it, but,
I don't believe there is one.
yeah. I would move then that we join the litigation on the social media lawsuit as was presented by the superintendent.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Now, approve superintendent's recommendations for 24-25 personnel.
As Ms. Samanka comes forward, I will make one note on page 1. And I do understand we have several revisions this evening, but I'll make this first one. Under secondary principals, letter A, recommended for transfer to be determined from to assistant principal. So my recommendation is Megan Hauk from principal of Bradley Elementary School to assistant principal of Park Middle with a effective date to be determined.
In addition to the adjustment that Dr. Starcher just mentioned, we have, you'll see, beginning page 2 and going page 3 and into page 4, some resignations of substitute teachers who have failed to complete the required documentation. On a positive note, we have acquired documentation from 8 of these people that need now removed from this resignation list. They are in alphabetical order, so we need to remove Kaylin Britt, David Cuthbert, Aurora Gill, Hannah Hall, Adrienne Jones, Heather Martin, Haley Morrison, and Taylor Muscari. Then our last adjustment is on the final page, page 7, and that is under transportation substitute, section A, recommended for appointment, Darrell Hughes. The effective date needs to reflect 1/27/2025. Thank you.
Your recommendation?
My recommendation is as presented with the changes noted by myself and Ms. Samanka.
Y'all have heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The last thing on our agenda is consider approval or possible action for superintendent's contract.
I move we go into executive session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye for executive
Aye.
session. Okay.
I am. They see you tomorrow.
Here's mine. You want mine?
Here's a pen.
Here's mine.
Need a pen?
No, he wants the agenda if he wants to. Here we go.
So let the record show we're back out of the executive session. The only thing on our agenda was approve superintendent's recommendation.
The contract.
I'm sorry, approve superintendent's contract.
I move that we approve the superintendent's new contract for 4 years with a 3% cost of living increase over that term of the contract.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That's all we have on our agenda. This meeting's adjourned.
Congratulations.
Thank you.